compact frame and unique design, the SpaceX X-37B aircraft may seem small, but it has greatly impacted space exploration. This itty-bitty spaceplane has captured the imaginations of scientists and space enthusiasts alike, proving that even the most unassuming objects can achieve great feats and inspire us to reach for the stars. Although X-37B has returned to Earth after more than 2 years in orbit, breaking its previous record, many want to know, is it a secretive Pentagon weapon? Does it sneak up on satellites? What exactly does it do in space? And why has it been up there for so long? Join us as we unveil how the new SpaceX aircraft outperforms other U.S. fighter jets. The launch of the X-37B spaceplane by the United States Space Force has been a significant event in military aerospace technology and strategic defense mechanisms. The spacecraft is a remarkable feat of engineering and demonstrates the latest advancements in military research and development. The enigmatic and technologically advanced X-37B, also known as the Orbital Test Vehicle, or OTV, has been designed to navigate the low Earth orbit, similar to a satellite, yet possesses an aeronautical vehicle's versatility and kinetic prowess. The X-37B is a unique spacecraft measuring approximately 29 feet in length and with a wingspan of just under 15 feet. Boeing designed and built the spacecraft, and it sits atop an Atlas V rocket, which launches the vehicle into space. It is an unmanned vessel designed to mimic the glide of a traditional aircraft during its terrestrial descent. Designed to descend horizontally upon the tarmac, it is much like its aeronautical counterparts. The spacecraft is a significant achievement in the field of military aerospace technology and strategic defense mechanisms. It demonstrates the capabilities and ambitions of the United States to assert dominion over the vast and uncharted final frontier, outer space. The X-37B spacecraft is also known for its versatility in payload and mission capabilities. Its body is designed to accommodate various technological instruments, and the payload bay is similar to that of the Space Shuttle. However, the secrecy surrounding its payload and mission details has led to intrigue and speculation about its true capabilities and intent. The primary purpose of the X-37B is to provide a platform for testing early-stage technologies in space. These include propulsion systems that can operate in the vacuum of space, materials that can withstand harsh cosmic elements, and advanced communication technologies. The spacecraft's ability to re-enter Earth's atmosphere and present these innovations for examination is an unparalleled asset, further advancing the development of space technologies. The military implications of the X-37B are significant and multifaceted. Its capability to navigate the orbital realm and undertake missions exceeding 700 days provides an unparalleled strategic advantage for reconnaissance, satellite deployment, and maintenance. Its adaptability and reusability make it economical and versatile for a wide range of missions, from gathering intelligence covertly to overtly demonstrating technological prowess. The recent deployment of the X-37B is a testament to technological might and a deliberate and unequivocal proclamation of the U.S. commitment to asserting its dominion in space. Despite its shroud of secrecy, the X-37B has not been spared scrutiny as critics voice concerns regarding its potential role in the contentious militarization of space. Amid these concerns, the U.S. articulates a steadfast narrative of peace and defense. The inherent capabilities of the X-37B, wrapped in layers of speculation, inevitably raise questions and apprehensions about its potential offensive applications in the intricate chess game of space supremacy. Recently, the secretive X-37B spaceplane beat its previous flight duration record by staying in orbit for 908 days before landing. The autonomous craft, operated by the United States Space Force, USSF, is officially classified, and therefore scant details about its purpose or missions are released, but officials say that the latest flight carried a host of scientific experiments. NASA's X-37B Orbital Test Vehicle, OTV, initially developed under NASA's supervision, was later handed over to the U.S. military, who created a variant of the craft, X-37B. The first model of this variant was sent into orbit in 2010, and since then, both vehicles have flown numerous long-duration missions, including a 674-day mission that ended in 2014. Although the latest mission, which lasted 908 days, set a new record for the X-37B, other space missions, such as the International Space Station, have spent longer in orbit. The OTV-6 mission began on May 2020 and ended on November 12 with a landing at NASA's Kennedy Space Center. The mission conducted several scientific experiments, including a U.S. Naval Research Laboratory test. They collect energy through solar panels and transmit it to Earth as microwaves. The United States Air Force Academy cadets designed a satellite with an electromagnetic propulsion system, which was also released. NASA provided other experiments to examine the impact of space exposure on various materials and seeds. The drone, which operates without a crew, is set to launch on SpaceX's powerful Falcon Heavy for the first time. It's the first time the rocket has been used to launch this drone, and it's more potent than the rockets you said previously. Recent documents suggest that the mission will be in a much higher orbit, which has led to speculation. However, the drone's actions in that higher orbit are still unclear. In 2018, SpaceX was awarded a $130 million contract for this launch. The Pentagon's official statement declares the mission has several testing and experimentation objectives. These experiments include operating the reusable spaceplane in new orbital regimes and experimenting with future space domain awareness technologies. The reference to space domain awareness signifies the possibility of monitoring other satellites to identify potential threats. In the vast expanse of space where adversaries' spacecraft operate, it has become crucial for the U.S. Space Force to understand better what's going on up there and what their rivals are doing. Given the growing number of anti-satellite capabilities, space systems are constantly threatened. The joint force is also at risk due to the increasingly sophisticated adversary, space-based systems intended to target them. However, one aspect of the mission is already known. The vehicle will conduct an experiment for NASA in which plant seeds will be exposed to the harsh radiation environment of long-duration spaceflight. In the past, the Pentagon used the X-37B to test some of its cutting-edge technologies. For instance, they tried a small solar panel to transform solar energy into microwaves. This technology could one day enable energy harnessed in space to be beamed back to Earth. The Boeing-built X-37B has been utilized for deploying small satellites, although the details of its missions remain a mystery. Despite the U.S. government boasting about the X-37B's cutting-edge technology and impressive capabilities, no specific information about its operations has been publicly disclosed. Nevertheless, the Pentagon highly values the X-37B for its capabilities and the mystique surrounding it. The Secure World Foundation has stated that the X-37B has almost no feasibility as an orbital weapons system for attacking ground targets. Instead, it is being used to test reusable space launch vehicle technologies such as guidance and thermal protection and conduct on-orbit testing of new sensor technologies and satellite hardware for risk reduction. However, some other nations, such as China, have accused the U.S. of weaponizing space and believe that the X-37B symbolizes American dominance in space. Despite this, the X-37B is primarily being used for experimental purposes and is not intended for military operations. Therefore, China also has a secretive reusable spaceplane, the Shenlong, which has flown 2 missions so far. The last one touched down in May after spending 261 days in orbit. It is highly secretive, like the X-37B, and no photos have been released publicly, but it does appear to be inspired by its American cousin, Whedon said. The Chinese think that if Americans believe it is important, we may invest. In December 28, 2023, at NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral, Florida, SpaceX's Falcon Heavy rocket blasted the U.S. military's X-37B spaceplane into orbit for its 7th unmanned mission, about 2 weeks behind schedule due to poor weather and technical issues. It needs to be made clear where the ultra-secretive spaceplane is headed. Still, it's conducting a wide range of research projects, including operating the reusable spaceplane in new orbital regimes, experimenting with future space domain awareness technologies, and investigating the radiation effects on materials provided by NASA. 2 weeks before this most recent X-37B launch, China's mysterious new spacecraft took a page from its American counterpart's playbook, reportedly deploying 6 objects into low Earth orbit from its payload bay, a mission the U.S. Air Force's X-37B has been performing for more than a decade. Had the American launch occurred on schedule, the 2 vehicles would have entered space simultaneously, making the Chinese effort look like an intentional competition. The Shenlong, also known as the Divine Dragon spaceplane, rocketed into orbit on December 14 aboard a Long March 2F rocket from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center in the Gobi Desert. Constructed by the People's Liberation Army in 1956, Jiuquan is the most military-oriented of China's 4 space launch sites. 4 days after launching its 3rd mission, China's Shenlong robotic spaceplane placed 6 objects into Earth orbit. Amateur spacecraft trackers worldwide have been following the objects closely for days and have recorded emissions coming from some of them. Shenlong has deployed 6 microsatellites. The purpose of these microsatellites is unknown, though all are broadcasting a signal, likely to Chinese ground control stations. 6 unidentified objects in space have been designated Object A, B, C, D, E, and F. Recently, a satellite tracker and amateur astronomer named Scott Tilley reported that Object A is emitting signals that resemble those emitted by objects released by China's spaceplane on previous missions. Tilley has referred to these objects as mysterious wingmen on X, formerly Twitter. However, it is still uncertain whether the Object A signal is emitted by the object itself or an object nearby. Additionally, Object D and E emit signals, but these signals appear idle and do not contain any data. It is important to note that these emissions are very intermittent and do not remain on for long periods. It is worth mentioning that the emissions observed during the early Chinese spaceplane missions 1 and 2 were different from the ones observed now. Gathering this data has taken days of observing and tracking passes with dish antennas. Satellite trackers have analyzed signals and are confident that the emissions originate from the objects or their close proximity. This conclusion is based on observing the objects along their expected paths in the sky, the absence of any other known objects in the beam of the tracker's antennas when the data was collected, and the fact that the particular modulation of these signals is unique and has only been seen from previous Chinese spaceplane missions using a frequency of 2280 MHz. The current Chinese spaceplane mission has launched into a similar orbit as the last 2, exhibiting different radio behavior than before. The recent observations of Object D and E emissions are new, but these emissions may have been missed on earlier missions if they were too intermittent. It is worth noting that close encounters between Object A and Object D and E should be watched for. D and E are somewhat elliptical orbits, while A is in a near-circular orbit. China's spaceplane has displayed some exciting activities during its past 2 missions. On both occasions, in September 2020 and August 2022, the spacecraft released a small object into orbit that could not be identified. Experts have speculated that the objects might be service modules, test articles to practice payload placement, or even small satellites to monitor the spaceplane's activities. Similarly, the United States has its reusable robotic spaceplane, the X-37B, developed by Boeing. Much like China's Shenlong spaceplane, little about the X-37B's specific operations or capabilities is known. The U.S. Space Force plans to launch the spacecraft on December 28 atop a SpaceX Falcon Heavy rocket following several delays. The X-37B, a space glider developed by Boeing, is a reusable robotic spacecraft that is currently operated by the U.S. Space Force. This innovative spacecraft is designed to be carried into space using either a United Launch Alliance Atlas V or a SpaceX Falcon Heavy Space Launch Vehicle. Although lacking its own engines, the X-37B is capable of performing a wide range of tasks while in space. Once its mission is complete, this spacecraft re-enters Earth's atmosphere and lands at the Kennedy Space Center Shuttle Landing Facility, just like its predecessor, the Space Shuttle. During its launch, the cargo bay, which spans approximately 7 feet by 4 feet, is shielded by clamshell doors. It's worth noting that there are only 2 X-37Bs in existence. It first flew in 2010, staying aloft for 224 days. The lack of a human crew makes for a smaller spacecraft and means the X-37B can remain in orbit as long as needed. The last mission, OTV-6, went on for a record 908 days. The current mission is known as OTV-7, Orbital Test Vehicle 7. While it's unclear how long the spaceplane will remain in space, it's likely to remain in orbit for over 2 years if history serves as any indication. Meanwhile, very little is known about the Divine Dragon. China Aerospace Science and Technology Corporation, KSK, which also produces the Long March series of satellite launch vehicles, developed the spaceplane. China's Shenlong has a similar concept of operation, riding into space on a Long March rocket and then gliding back to Earth. Despite having flown several missions into space, the Chinese government has never publicly released a photograph of their spacecraft's actual appearance. While various artists' impressions of the vessel's design continue to circulate online, no official images of the spaceplane have been made available to date. Additionally, an analysis of a recovered nose fairing hints that the Divine Dragon shares similar dimensions with the X-37B. 2 spacecraft, the X-37B and another unnamed one, have been undertaking comparable missions. The X-37B has successfully deployed small satellites and is believed to be conducting various experiments on subjects such as seed growth, microwave power transmission between space sources, and a ground receiver station. Additionally, in the year 2015, it performed experiments to investigate the feasibility of ion thrusters, which were then an unproven system for space propulsion. The Divine Dragon's activities in space remain a mystery to amateur space trackers. However, according to a recent statement by Xinhua, the mission aims to conduct reusable technology verification and space science experiments, providing technical support for peaceful space usage. In addition to deploying microsatellites, the Divine Dragon will undertake various tests and experiments to enhance our understanding of space technology and its applications. The X-37B and the Divine Dragon are 2 remarkable spaceplanes that boast advanced capabilities and have become widely recognized for their exceptional performance in conducting space-based experiments. Unlike conventional satellites, these 2 spaceplanes offer the unique advantage of being able to retrieve their hardware and bring it back to Earth for further analysis. This provides researchers with an invaluable opportunity to delve deeper into the data collected during the missions and gain greater insights into the mysteries of space. It's no surprise that both the Chinese and the U.S. have been closely monitoring each other's reusable spaceplane launches. These spaceplanes are highly scrutinized objects in orbit and are among the most intriguing ones. Both nations are eager to learn as much as possible about each other's technological capabilities. Also, the timing of these launches is no coincidence and indicates the keen interest that both countries have in each other's space programs. The intrigue surrounding these spaceplanes is immense, and it's no wonder that they are regarded as significant milestones in space exploration. Although it is a challenging task to compare the X-37B and the Shenlong spaceplanes, due to their striking similarities. However, despite the similar traits, the former has garnered a significant amount of attention and research, while the latter remains veiled in secrecy. The Shenlong spaceplane is shrouded in mystery, with only a handful of confirmed details available to the general public, making it all the more intriguing. However, the current mission of the Shenlong spaceplane may remain a mystery, and it is unclear how long it will last. Yet the X-37B and the Shenlong spaceplanes continue to represent remarkable achievements in space exploration, and their ongoing missions are sure to yield valuable insights and data for years to come. What do we know so far about how America's X-37B stacks up against China's Shenlong spaceplane? Thanks for watching. While you're still here, click on the link on your screen to watch another of our interesting videos. See you there.